Ticking time bombs and ancillary projects, we have it all on Drop Your Buffs, a podcast discussing Australian Survivor. On this episode, we will be discussing the Australian Survivor episode that aired on Monday, August 22nd. So if you haven't seen this episode yet and don't want to be spoiled, please about face your canoe and start paddling back now. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already. And if you can, please leave us a review on iTunes. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just go to dropyourbuffs.com for more details. Craig, what do you reckon? How was this episode?
Well, we're well and truly into it now, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. It seems like it's just maybe a step back, maybe.
Step back? What do you mean by step back?
Well, it just didn't seem to have quite the same pizzazz as the first episode.
I guess it was a bit shorter. I mean, the first episode went for nearly 2 hours. I think the second one was probably only an hour in the end.
We just had the one challenge too.
Only the one challenge, that's right. So I think there was quite a lot of time sort of spent just at a few of the camps, just seeing where some of the tensions lie. There was a bit of that sort of build-up going on. There was a lot of that happening, a lot of talk going on. But yeah, you're right. Probably right. Probably not quite as intense as the first episode was.
No, and speaking of time, how about that time-lapse scenery? Very
spectacular. Good. I keep saying Samoa's the star of this show.
It was very Survivor. Now the show opens with Christy having lost her belongings.
So do we know what happened there? Did she misplace them? Did she not know they were there? Did someone move them and put them back later? Do we actually know what happened there? I'm not quite clear on that.
Well, after Tribals, where she was looking for it, couldn't find it, but I think she found it the next day. But
she sort of made a comment when she found it about, oh, there it is. Was it there the whole time?
Oh, yeah.
So she said that, but had someone taken it away and put it back?
They really spent a fair bit of time on that, didn't they? There was a bit of just talking about her just general paranoia. And I think what they're really trying to say was that she probably is a bit of she doesn't quite fit in with the rest of the tribe, and she's probably feeling that more now. And maybe she is a bit like Des in the way that he didn't fit in as well, and so she's worried about her position.
Maybe I'm not quite sure what that was all about. Whether that might have just been a lack of food and water thing. A few days into the game, I don't know. It was nice to see Elle sitting down with her and helping her out, seeing what she could do. So that was pretty supportive.
And I love the sad piano music that they played at that moment.
You love your sad piano music, Stu, don't you?
It was very nice, yes. Yeah. Now, over to Vavau, we've had a first for this season. We've actually heard from Barry.
We did hear from Barry. It was good to hear him talk.
Although that was the only time that we actually heard him talk for the whole episode. We didn't hear him again, no.
Come on, Barry. I want to hear more from you, Barry.
And then with the rest of the Vavau tribe, they've got no fire, but I'm sure they had flint, though. Everyone had flint by the end of last episode, didn't they?
Well, Nick got fire, but he lost it.
That's right. He tried and failed.
And look, well done for him getting it lit. I think the problem was more a team issue. It wasn't a Nick issue. I think they weren't ready to come in with the larger bits of sticks they need to build up over the top of the husk of the coconut there, and then they needed the bigger logs when it got really going. They didn't seem to be quite ready for that, so I don't know.
No, well then they just went back to licking palm leaves, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did, and it seemed to be working for them there for a while. They seemed to be quite enjoying themselves licking those palm leaves.
Then over to Aganoa. Evan doesn't want to tell people about himself being a drama teacher. This has come up already, hasn't it? It's like covering old ground.
Well, we know about it, but
yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
So some of the footage we saw tonight was actually in the original preview. So we know about it, but whether he shared that with the rest of the cast, I'm not sure.
Right.
But there was lots of talk about Evan, though, wasn't it? He thinks he's in an alliance. Lee's not so sure he's in an alliance with them. There's the beginnings of some tension and some
I like it.
Confusion there.
I like Evan. He's very entertaining.
I like Evan too.
He's a bit like the class clown. You know, he's always got something funny to say. But I liked how he was talking about trusting Lee, because Lee was a cricketer and cricketers value loyalty and so on.
All of which is true. All of which is true. But yeah, I think there's some interesting times ahead there.
Yeah, but aren't cricketers also known for sledging as well?
Oh, controversial, Stu. Very controversial.
Now, yeah, because Lee was saying that Evan thinks he's in the five, and he's
Well, he didn't say he wasn't, did he? He just said he thinks he's in. He didn't sort of say he's not in or he is in.
But he's probably fifth of the five. So
yeah, that's probably right. Yeah.
and just that Evan was just trying a bit too hard, and it's just too much of a wild card, which I can see that. Now, back to Vavau. Kate's telling us that they don't have any fire, therefore there's no water and no food, and that's not helping with their low energy levels.
That's bad. Yeah, but I did like the positivity that came through there.
Yes, that's right.
She was saying, "Well, that's fine. That's the situation, but look, we really need this, so let's get in there and do it." And did she give Nick? I think she gave Nick a bit of a pep talk, didn't she? And sort of said, "Hey, you can do this." And
that's right. And then they made the fire.
And they got fire. It was a really good, and this time it was a really good team effort. And someone actually said at one stage, is everyone ready with their tasks? So I think they thought about it and they had a plan. So it was good to see.
That's right. Then over to Sanapu.
Can I just say, Peter was rocking that red suit. That red suit he's got. That's just outstanding.
He wasn't wearing it so much though this episode, was he?
No, he did have it when they did that cross back to Sanapu after Vavau got the fire. He had it on then. And I was, where do you get a red suit like that from?
Soon after that, then we were talking to Kylie, and she was saying, I think she was worried because she was saying she feels like she's being recognised for her physical worth in the tribe, but she's just still worried about certain people in the tribe and certain alliances, and then we're talking to Peter, and he's saying that he's done some valuable things in his life that are perfect for this game, but the problem is he's just feeling very fatigued. He's not eating, he's not drinking, and he's really worried about his health going forward in this game.
And that was really the first we'd heard of that, wasn't it? I mean, I didn't know that was going on. They hadn't put that in there before, so
no,
it was interesting to hear.
Visibly, he seemed fine, but as he described himself, he was a ticking time bomb.
Wasn't feeling well at all. But did you get the feeling that up to that point in the episode, not a lot really had happened? I mean, there'd been some fire and there'd been some talk about a few things, and we'd seen a few people probably struggling, probably the people that were starting to struggle a little bit. But really, at that point, did you feel like you were that advanced in where we're going?
No, well, there's been hardly any strategy or alliance talk or anything like that. No one seems to be looking for idols.
Yeah, that's right. No one sees. Now, again, is it the editing? But no, I don't think we've seen a single person go looking for an idol.
That's right. Yeah,
maybe they're not there.
So, should we talk about the challenge?
Oh, definitely. Interesting challenge.
Well, JLP grills Rowan straight away and says, "Well, you've lost the last two challenges, so what's your tribe doing differently now?"
I thought that he actually said, "What are you going to do to win this challenge?" And I thought it was actually a bit of an unfair question since they didn't yet know what the challenge was. I mean, know what I mean? I thought maybe tell them the challenge and say, "Right, what are you going to do this time?"
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, Rowan said that they're much more united, and that was going to help them win the challenge. So, Evan, class clown, jokes about not having fire in their tribe, something about sparks or something, or they saw some sparks but no fire.
Yeah.
Now, this one involved the castaways you had two castaways that were shackled by the wrists, and they had to be physically carried through this ropes course by the rest of the team.
It looked brutal, didn't it, for the person being carried?
Yeah, there was lots of pretty awkward looking manhandling going on. And no, it didn't look too good. And even seeing Lee being carried around, which was an interesting choice, seeing he was the biggest person on their tribe, I think.
Well, in hindsight, I think that was actually probably genius to involve him in the way they did. I mean, my first reaction was, wow, he's one of the biggest guys out there, and they're having to get him through this course. But I think we saw at the end of the challenge why they put him in that position.
Well, is it only those people that can throw?
Well, I think so. Again, a little bit unclear on the rules, but that's probably because right. on Sanapu, Connor was the one who was one of the ones carried through the course, and he was the one throwing at the end. Maybe that was coincidence. I don't know.
Right.
But that was my impression about maybe why they did it.
That's a very good point, Craig. Very good point. Well, are we sure that Lee is a former cricketer? Because he was
absolutely positive. Absolutely positive.
It was just he was flinging himself around like a gymnast.
I see what you mean. Well, yeah.
He looked very acrobatic.
He did. He did a very good job there. Look, that challenge was made for him. I mean, some awesome fielding at the end from pretty much, it was pretty much a silly mid-on position or something, wasn't it? The way he was throwing those sandbags at those, whatever those things were that they were trying to knock down. Well, made for him. Absolutely made for him.
That's right. Well, it was Sanapu who got the crate down first with the sandbags in it. Vavu were next, and Argonoa were last, despite Lee's efforts. But I think that Lee then, I think Lee did catch them up though.
He got them back in it, and then just his superior throwing skills, I think, over probably everyone else, got them there.
So even though Sanapu were the first ones to start throwing, it was actually Kate from Vavau who won.
Yes, that's right. They got the big reward.
Who won that challenge, and they got the huge supply of fishing equipment.
They did, and
as described by JLP.
Yep.
Argonoa came second, surprisingly, but that was due to Lee's cricketing skills, I think. And
absolutely,
they got line and hooks.
That's right, and immunity.
That left, yes, that's right. And that left Sanapu last.
It did,
going to tribal.
Kind of tried hard, but didn't quite bring it home.
Now, straight away then, we get back to camp and Connor's apologising for failing the tribe. How did you feel about that, Craig?
We talked about this in our last podcast. I'm always a bit, I think you've got to take a broader view. If someone, look, I think he did a great job on the challenge. Actually, he was it was on a hiding to nothing up against someone like Lee, who is a professional thrower of things, and has to do that very accurately. So, look. Good on him. As I said previously, I think he's the kind of guy who wears his heart on his sleeve. I think he felt he needed to say that. That's all fine. And I don't think anyone really blamed him for the loss or even saw him as a prospect for going home.
No, well, speaking of going home, it seemed like Peter was really he had his heart set on going home, but he was looking at it in a very pragmatic way. He was looking at values and liabilities and so on, and talking about the different members, the different tribe members, and their respective values and liabilities and so on. He was really just saying that he's just too much of a liability going forward.
He got some good support from Sam, said, look, he's valuable. He said, okay, he's not feeling very well and he's keen to go, but he does bring value to the tribe. So,
but Sam did acknowledge that he hadn't been eating or drinking very much. So that was definitely a problem. And then Bianca, she was worried.
Well, this is when things got really interesting.
That's right, because she's obviously got some kind of alliance or understanding with Peter, or kinship, and so she was worried about her position if Peter does go. Now, Connor, he tells Brooke and Flick about Bianca's plan, and this is what throws a spanner in the works. Flick now suddenly wants Bianca gone because she thinks that Bianca's gunning for Flick and Brooke, which she was.
She was.
and so the claws are out, and so it seems like that we might have this showdown. We weren't sure whether Peter was still going to go because it just seemed like he just physically couldn't go on. Matt was just saying it's just crazy at camp.
Yeah, he did say that. Everyone running. What did he say? I can't remember what his exact words were, but everyone's running around and getting all excited. He
was saying it was crazy. And
did Connor do the right thing by revealing the conversation with Bianca to the girls?
Well, I guess that depends on what alliance he's with, and I'm not.
Well, that's what it said to me. That's what it said to me, that his alliance.
Well, I guess
was reasonably strong. I think that was a bit of evidence that he sees himself in that alliance. We've seen that before. We saw them talking about it in the first episode. So to me, that was a bit of evidence that there is a bit of an alliance going on there.
I thought we talked in the last episode though that the alliance was at least of the four, wasn't it? Flick was in there. Flick and Brooke
is concerned about Connor. She thinks he's very, very strategic and is concerned about him. But I think for the moment, it suits everyone's purposes for that alliance to continue.
But they seem like a 5.
Oh, they seem like a 5 to me.
So where we end up, then it seemed like everyone was going to all vote for Peter. That's what seemed to be the general consensus.
That is the way it looked, yeah.
That's what they were saying.
There was that big discussion in the circle about it, and that seemed to be the way they were heading.
So we get to Tribal Council. Not raining, I don't think.
It wasn't raining. But JLP wasn't expecting Sanapu to be there.
No, that's right. That's right. He asked Connor about what was it? What they dread or fear or something, and he was saying that he dreads that
They all dread the night.
that they all dread the night. So
The night and it gets cold. I'm surprised it gets. I mean, I haven't been to Samoa, but I'm surprised it gets so cold at night. I guess maybe they were there during their winter.
Close to the equator, though, so I would have thought it would be pretty warm.
I suppose if you're on
but,
a dark, cold beach and the wind's blowing, yeah, it'll get cold.
This is the part where Kylie's talking about people that are working as opposed to people that like truly working and people that are working on ancillary projects.
I just love that line, don't you? Ancillary projects.
Oh, it's a great turn of phrase.
It was just so diplomatic the way she put that. She wasn't prepared to say who it was she was talking about.
But it wasn't that diplomatic because it was a bit.
I thought it was. Ancillary projects. I mean, gosh, that's
that was a backhanded compliment.
Yeah, but it's. I quite like that. It said everything but nothing.
Matt was saying the reason why they lost that challenge was just because all the other tribes were just really strong.
And I think that's right. I really think that's right. Lee won that challenge for Aganoa because of his superior throwing ability.
Well, I thought with that challenge, actually, it was very well edited, and the way that they'd put music in, it was quite an exciting finish to that challenge.
It was good.
So they start talking about Peter a bit more and about how he hasn't had any appetite and so on. Then they talk about Flick and Brooke being tight, and that's sort of basically recognised in this public forum. And then,
well, Bianca said at that point that I've noticed this from day one, and everyone went, that's interesting. And I think it was Brooke who'd only noticed it today, but Bianca had seen it a few days ago, and I think that's where it got a bit interesting.
Yeah, there was. I was surprised that so many people were so forthright with their what they were thinking about. So I thought people would be a bit more circumspect than that. So then we get down to the votes.
Oh, but before that, Bianca actually said, "I'm not feeling secure." In response to a direct question about how you're feeling tonight, she said, "Well, I'm not feeling secure. I think every time you come here, there's a chance you get voted out." So that was interesting.
That's right.
To hear her actually say that, and I think Connor actually said that at one stage as well, something very similar.
So we get to the voting. Have you got what the votes are, Craig?
I do have what the votes were. So it was in the end. It was 5 to Bianca, 2 to Peter, and 1 to Kylie. And that was Kylie and Bianca were the two who voted for Peter, and Peter was the one who voted for Kylie. Now, I thought that was interesting.
It was a very odd choice, yes.
It was an interesting vote, and the fact that Kylie also voted for Pete suggests to me that Kylie may not be as, I don't know, maybe is not very well aligned within this group.
Kylie
didn't seem to be in on the plan.
Well, she's probably a different age group from a lot of the people, isn't she? Because you've got Flick and Brooke and Connor and Sam and Matt are probably all kind of a similar age, aren't they?
Yeah, early mid-20s, yeah. So I thought that was interesting. I thought it was a very interesting result in the end. That I wasn't surprised that Bianca went after the way the discussion went down at Tribal Council, but it was interesting the way the other votes were sprayed around.
Well, it seemed from Flick's expression when the votes were being read out, she seemed surprised. So at first I wasn't sure where she was voting or what the surprise was, but maybe she was more surprised that her plan came off. And
because it certainly became clear at the end that she had also voted for Bianca, so there was clearly a plan. The sad news.
Yeah, it's now time for the sad music because Bianca from Sanapu, unfortunately, it's your time to go. Fire means life. And your fire has been snuffed, as JLP has said. The tribe has spoken. Okay, moving right along.
That was that.
Next week, they had a quick talk. There's apparently Andrew's BS radar is just going off.
Yeah, I know. That's very interesting, isn't it?
And they did talk about some idols, didn't they? Some idols?
Well, I couldn't quite work out what that was about, but it did look like perhaps some members of the tribe are chosen to, maybe it's a tree mail kind of thing. That's what it looked like to me. And that they are actually it looked to me like they've either been given the clue or the idol, and it's a question of do they keep it for themselves or give it to their tribe, or what do they do? That's what it looked like to me.
Yes, yeah.
And it looked like some story was being created on one of the tribes. I think Nick Nick from Vaval might have been in on that. And
didn't they talk about some sort of trust as well? Is that where I thought it was one of those tribe swap things that we haven't seen for quite a while in the US Survivor?
Could have been.
You know,
hard to tell exactly what's going on there.
Where they swap for a day or something like that, and
very difficult to know.
Like
but that's where that radar went off.
Maybe buffs could be dropped. It's possible.
I hope they will be at some stage.
Favourite moments?
Favourite moments? I reckon just Lee's outstanding fielding in that challenge.
It was pretty good.
Oh, that was impressive. Got them right back in that challenge. Or it got them into the second place position, having been significantly behind for most of it. It was good to see.
Yeah,
I love my cricket, as you know. It's great to see the skills. What about yours, Stu?
I can't go past the ancillary projects, to be honest. Was that Bianca or Kylie who said that?
That was Kylie.
Kylie, yeah. Yeah.
It's a good line.
Good line. Very good line. Now, tweets.
Oh, tweets.
Tweet time.
Or chickens. Sounds like chickens.
Well, that's what Survivor tweets are. I think they're all chickens, aren't they?
That's appropriate. There's always a chicken running around somewhere. Go for it, Stu. Tell us about the tweets.
Well, there was a tweet from JLP himself.
Was there?
And he said, damn, the first blindside. Didn't see that coming. Now, I don't think that's a blindside.
No, I don't think it is either.
No.
I mean, Bianca said herself, I don't feel secure. I'm a bit concerned.
That's right.
To me, a blindside is when you're going
it's
around saying it's definitely not going to be me. It's this person over here, and then you're on your way. I mean, that to me is a blindside. That what we saw tonight, I don't think that was that was a particular. Well, in the grand scheme of blindsides, it's not one of the bigger ones we've seen. We'll put it that way.
No, that's right. I think that I'm hoping that there's some better blindsides coming up.
Maybe Maybe we'll call it a mini blindside.
The other one I saw was from @SteveMolk. He said, if they were real students of Survivor AU, they would have been looking for an idol on day one. And that is true because as we've seen from the last 10 seasons of Survivor now in the US now, you've normally got people looking for idols on day one, around their beach, around their camp.
Up or just trees.
Yep, any strange looking tree or rock formation, they're in there and no one's even mentioned it. Have they?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know whether that's just editing and they haven't had time to show us that sort of stuff because maybe they've all been looking for days and no one's found one. No one's got even close to finding one. Who knows?
Well, there's still people that we've barely even spoken to or that we've barely seen on
It's hard when you've got 23 now, 22 survivors running around. It's hard to get everyone to speak.
Well, hopefully it should be getting easier now as the numbers come down
one by one.
Cue the sad music. Survivor news, Craig. Have you got something for us?
Well, there is a little bit obtuse, but there is a bit of Survivor news today. So a lot of people may have heard that the latest Thor movie is being filmed in the centre of Brisbane at the moment.
I have heard that.
There's whole streets shut down, and it's causing all sorts of traffic chaos. But it's very exciting to see a big blockbuster like that. Anyway, Chris Hemsworth is the star of that movie, and he was seen this morning in a hoodie with Livin on it.
With what on it?
Livin, Livin, which is the name of the charity that Sam founded.
Ah, it is too.
Yes, so Sam's had a big couple of days. The great premiere of Australian Survivor, and now his own charity is getting some amazing publicity from a major Hollywood star. So that's my little bit of juice, but that's what's happening in the world of Survivor.
That's a great tie-in. Actually, I'm looking forward to that Thor movie because have you heard who the director is?
No, who is the director?
I can't. I can't pronounce his name, I don't think, but he's a New Zealand director who recently directed Hunt for the Wilder People, and he is a more quirky type, sort of independent, sort of lower budget type sort of director, and it was a strange choice to have him put into this blockbuster movie. So.
Well, it didn't look low budget. What I saw today, there were multiple New York cabs and people dressed as New York police officers, and there were people everywhere, and they've closed off multiple streets.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're getting off topic, but
very good.
That was my little bit of news from the Survivor world.
Well, I think that's it for this episode. It's been a big week having the back-to-back Sunday, Monday nights.
I'm exhausted.
Looking forward to the next episode on next Sunday night, and we'll see who gets voted off then. Hopefully there'll be a blindside.
Love a good blindside.
Some new twists. Buffs dropped.
Love twists. Love buffs getting dropped.
Well, thanks for listening. and we'll speak to you next time.
See you later.
Bye.